J.J. Abrams continues to amaze me with the release of Star Trek Into Darkness. So if you haven't seen or you just want to know how I feel about J.J. Abrams' 2009 Star Trek, you can check out that review by clicking the annotation on the screen or by clicking the link down in the info below. So Star Trek Into Darkness is the sequel to the 2009 Star Trek. And the great thing about Star Trek Into Darkness is that it maintains everything that I loved about the first Star Trek. It maintains all the action, all the great characters, all the emotional storytelling that we saw in the first film. Now going into this film I was a little bit worried, and the reason for this is because the conflict and great dialogue between characters in the last film might be resolved and it might just not feel the same in this film. But I'm glad to say that that is definitely not a problem in this film. The cast for the first film returns and they all bring their A-game just as they did in J.J. Abrams' 2009 Star Trek. And along with all these returning faces, we get some new faces that bring their acting talents into this film. As much as I think everyone did a great job, I'm just going to highlight 3 of my favorite performances in the film. The first is Captain Kirk, played by Chris Pine. He was great in this film, and I personally think that he was better in this one than he was in the first. The second standout performance was Zachary Quinto as Spock. Now Zachary Quinto did a great job in the first film, but in this one, he really steps up and he becomes a better character in my opinion. And finally, my last standout performance is Benedict Cumberbatch as John Harrison. Benedict was great in this film, and he's one of the most menacing villains that I've ever seen. Now since Star Trek Into Darkness is a sequel, these characters have to be challenged in ways that they weren't challenged in the first. And the way that J.J. Abrams challenges these characters is great to watch. Especially the challenges that Captain Kirk and Spock have to face. In the first film, Captain Kirk receives the Enterprise, but in this film, he has to earn the Enterprise. And Captain Kirk is also tested to see what he is willing to do to save the lives of his crew. Now Spock, being a Vulcan, was definitely challenged emotionally, but in this film I found he was definitely challenged a lot more physically, which was great. All of these challenges that these characters face during this film are both emotional and action-packed. The action in the first film was superb, and I'm glad to say that the action stepped it up in every way possible for this sequel. The great thing is that you felt like you were in the action. These action set pieces are huge, and when they happen, you feel like you're there. From start to finish, Star Trek Into Darkness keeps you on the edge of your seat with non-stop action and entertainment. Something else that I think really steps up from the first film is the villain. Benedict Cumberbatch as a villain in this film is just menacing. As soon as this guy steps on the screen, he steals every scene. And finally I have to touch on the score and the visuals of this film. The score, as it was in the first film, is just epic. It makes you feel like you're out in space on this adventure, and the visuals are superb. If you get the chance, go see this movie in IMAX because it is definitely worth it. So Star Trek Into Darkness did everything that a good sequel should do, and more. It stepped it up in every way possible, making a film that I think has a better plot, better characters, a better villain, better action, and better visuals than the first film. And all of this means that Star Trek Into Darkness most definitely is fantastic. So that is my review for Star Trek Into Darkness. Comment below and tell me how you feel about Star Trek Into Darkness. Tell me which film you liked better, the first or the second. So until next time, I'm Marco Polo 24/17. Have a great day everyone, and I'll catch you all soon.